Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Royal Productions. This is another episode of the Daily Article. And here we just cover news, daily articles, and things that are happening in the world. And we try to stay up to date with things, but it is one of those things where we are moving fast right now as a civilization as a whole. So it is imperative that you do read these articles on your own and understand them through your own reality. Don't take anything I say in these videos as factual or financial advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. I'm just one of those people that understand certain aspects of this realm like we all do. We all have a piece of the puzzle. That's why I say here, I'm a paradigm shifter, because we all are. As long as you're putting in that work and staying progressive in your goals and everything you do in life, then you will come out successful. But it is hard. It is hard. We live in a world, especially if you're in the Western civilization, there is a lot of distractions, and it's imperative that we stay away from those distractions, okay? Enough with the motivational stuff. Let's get right into this news. So we're going to look at the markets really quick. We're looking at the total crypto market. Right now, it's at 2.896. And it is one of those things where something like this happening, we've had a big run. The top blew off. So we do have to come back down and consolidate a bit. It is part of it. It's like nature. You have winter and you have summer. You know what I mean? So this happens, and don't get discouraged. Not financial advice, but understand your risk tolerance and understand when to take profit. If you don't take profit, then you're going to lose, because there's always going to have these pullbacks. Maybe not always, but there are chances where you can maybe take some off at the top and reinvest on the bottom. But I'm not here to give financial advice. Understand your risk analysis, like I said, and speak to a professional if you need that. Now, moving on to the news. So basically, this is about the SEC. There's been a lot of news of late coming out about the SEC because of this shift and change. But like I said, in my opinion, this is a big distraction. We have to get away from trying to work on our time scale and understand that these big institutions, these banks, these blockchains, all this stuff, they work on their own time. So we can have certain data points and stuff like that and information, but at the end of the day, we're speculating. This whole market is speculation right now, unless you know something that others don't, unless you're sitting behind closed doors. But anyways, back to this. So a lot of people say that the SEC's like laws and how they do stuff, they don't really have laws. They do it by regulation. So they don't, there's not even a set structure yet. There is nothing there for them to be enforcing, but they've taken into their own hands to say crypto is something they should be enforcing. And it's, if you're trying to protect the people, that's their talking point. We're here to help the people and make sure they don't get scammed. Okay, that's fine. But moving on, this article basically explains how before Gary Gensler came into office, we'll just read it so you guys can understand. Make sure always read the articles yourself so you get all the information, not just the points that I'm pointing out. Okay. The reality is the SEC's current approach to crypto really began under the last administration. Okay. A partner at White and Case, who was a top enforcement lawyer at the SEC and led some of the big crypto cases. So it is one of those things where we have to understand that it started with Clayton, okay? And then Gary Gensler took over the reins when Biden got into office. You know, they always sometimes put their own people into certain seats of power. And that's exactly what happened here. We're going back into Trump's administration, and we're going to see what happens with that. But again, this started back with Clayton. And Gensler gets a lot of the heat in the press about the Ripple case. Again, the Ripple case started with Clayton. So it is one of those things where we have to understand that was under Trump's administration. Now, we know Trump to be a little bit more friendly with crypto now, but it is one of those things where, in my opinion, I feel like this whole game has been slowed down on purpose. You know, the rest of the world is not ready for this innovation. A lot of people say America is behind. In my opinion, America's like far ahead, especially when you look at the patents, when you look at Ripple, when you look at other things like Aquarius and what Metal Blockchain is doing, and just all these different projects that come out of Silicon Valley and San Francisco. It lets me know one thing, that America, to an extent, knows what it's doing. Maybe not these lawmakers, but I feel like this whole system is about to be transferred into the private hands of corporations and institutions. We're talking about the Federal Reserve. They've been running things for a long time, but there is those talks out there about the Federal Reserve disappearing. But anyways, moving on. So basically, Pennsylvania moves to create Bitcoin reserves with up to 10% of 7 billion in state funds. So we have to understand this system is moving forward, and a lot of people are not tuned into what's happening. When you have talks of a whole state investing into crypto, that should let you know something. They're willing to risk the people's money, 10% of the people's money on, you know what I mean, a state fund. So like we have to understand, like, yes, they get money from the Federal Reserve and taxes and all this, but at the end of the day, whose money is that? Let's think about this for a second. That's our money, our taxpayers' money, on everything we're taxed on. We have to understand. So if we see that a state is going to use our money on the back end to invest in some of these assets, maybe we should start looking at that, right? If you're not investing in crypto, I'm saying if you are, then good job. Let's keep this train going. But if you're not financial advice. Think about it. You know, the way they're going to pay for some of your stuff is going to come from crypto in the future once they sell some off. All right. So read this article, understand what they're doing. And, you know, a lot's happening. And in my opinion, Trump is a perfect person to bring this type of stuff in. He is a businessman, correct? I'm pretty sure he's been invested or around these type of corporations before. You know, you got to think about it. If you're a big mover, you sit in the rooms with big movers, even if it's from a different, you know, technology or whatnot. So just throwing that out there. All right, something else. I don't know how to say this, his last name, but Russell Okungs, I guess. Okay, new football league wants to pay players basically in Bitcoin. So that is something else we need to pay attention to. The name of the game is called Bitball. It's created by him. So it's one of those things where this new league is going to be paying players in Bitcoin. So, you know, we have to understand the times are changing, currency exchanging, like it's just changing. All right. But basically, that's a revolution is what he says. We're moving away from seeing athletes go broke and losing generational wealth. That's the major point he's making. And it's true. You know, if you can invest in some of these coins while it's early, you could have generational wealth. All right. Let's move on. So SocGen Crypto Arm to bring its Euro stablecoin to XRP Ledger. So read through this. It's kind of tricky. You got to understand what they're truly doing. But basically, they're going to fork to multiple exchanges. So, you know, like they're becoming a multi-chain. And XRP talks about this a lot, how they want to be interoperable with everybody. They want to be able to interact with anybody, anywhere, at any time. So that is very important. So like kudos to them. But we have to understand, like if you're invested in some of these coins or crypto, like you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket, okay? Diversify. Not financial advice, but it is one of those things where if you see certain big companies working with smaller companies, then you understand, like Ethereum's big right now. You know, I'm not saying it's bigger than XRP. I'm not saying XRP is bigger, but they are both dominant forces in this game. And if they're working together and creating side chains and multi chains and forks into each other's, you know, that's phenomenal. That's gonna make a lot of progress in the future. You know, we don't all have to be competing with each other. And that's why I like XRP. They're not competing. They're working on one thing and one thing only. And then you have the rest of them. Okay. But read through this, see what they're doing. I think it's great for the whole system, for everybody. And yeah, we'll leave that there. All right, moving on. Some of you guys might know about him. He's a Dogecoin millionaire. He invested very early. And basically, he went up to about 3 million, and it came down to like 100. Wait, where was it? No, it fell to like 200,000. Okay, so imagine that. Like that would be crazy, right? That you didn't take profit. And I get it. At the end, there's some coins that I'll probably never sell and just take out a loan against. But that'll be when this system becomes, you know, better and has more infrastructure. You'll be able to take a loan out against your assets and then use your assets as they accumulate to pay for the loan. You know, that's not financial advice, but that's one of my things that I think about. But with him, he didn't take no profit. So he says he kind of regrets it, and this time he will be taking profit. So that's great. Like I'm proud of him. Get that money, Dogecoin millionaire. Invest in some other assets. But yeah, cool dude. I never met him, but I've heard him speak and like in some interviews and stuff like that. And he understands the game, and that's the thing about it. He did what he did. He felt like he did what was best for him at the time. So it's one of those things. It's up to the individual, and he got a lot of crap for not selling and taking some profit. But he's a legend in the game, and we got to respect that. All right, let's move on. So Tether launches hardware on. I have mixed feelings about Tether, but I'm gonna try to put that aside and stick to the article and the news at hand. But basically, I believe this is just a telltale sign of the future. Basically, if you don't know what tokenized means, do a simple Google search, look it up on YouTube. It is one of those things that you can find information on very quick. But as you can see here, it tells you what tokenized assets are. And they're basically stocks, bonds, stablecoins, and loyalty points. Understand this. Look, check this out. So you have these major things: stocks, you have bonds, you have stable coins, all fiat based, like the security of how we live, the money we make. But then you go into the total opposite direction: loyalty points. Like what? Most people don't even care about loyalty points when it comes to things. So understand the wide range of things that are in between these two. You get me? Polar opposites. All right. It is one of those things where you pay attention to the details. The devil's in the details. So yeah, they're moving on to a new chain. They're going to start tokenizing everything, and we have to prepare for that. And they're not the only one working on this, I'm sure. There's going to be other entities that are going to start tokenizing stuff. But yeah, let's move on. So this is crazy. This is a fun and crazy news, because it's one of those things where it's like, holy shit, this is a real like crazy thing, where it's one of those things where you think about it. I don't know. I'm lost for words right now. But basically, they're using an AI system that wastes telescammers' time. So basically, it's the old grandma. She just continues to ask questions and act kooky and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where this is great. Like, you want to try to scam me? Okay. Certainly got it, dear. And it's a kind AI, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things built into the AI where it's like it could do certain things, and we have to understand how like AI works in a way. AI is very, very, you could say, manipulative. It is crazy in a way where it can mimic you. It can piss you off by understanding how you speak. There's a lot that goes into AI, in my opinion. It's a learning, it's like learning at 1,000 miles per hour. Like, it continues to understand. So if the scammer starts getting a little like aggravated, it'll probably calm down. Like, well, I don't explain. You can go down the line. But yeah, this is funny, and I think this is great. People stealing money from other people and all these scams and stuff. Well, all right, this is how we combat it, and this is great. And this comes from innovation from people. You know what I mean? Like individuals like us, me and you. We create this system. So if there is evil out there, if there is bad out there, we can now use these systems to combat stuff, and we've seen this through all the conspiracy theories and people and more information coming out and understanding different topics. I'm not going to get into that right now, but if you guys know me and you know where I'm coming from, I feel very, very passionate about things like that. Like, it's been too long since we haven't been getting the truth, and that's why I'm here. Because I understand what crypto is going to do for people in the future. I understand what these big institutions and banks and corporations are doing on the back end. I'm not in none of these meetings, but the breadcrumbs are out there. There's articles coming out every day. You check the sources. Remember, the person who created it, and you make sure you understand where the information is coming from. Like, I do that on the back end. That's why I don't cover everything, because I cannot say for a fact that it's 100%. I'm not going to get 100% all the time. But we have to share our knowledge with each other so it helps one another. We all have a piece of this puzzle to shift this paradigm the way we want it to, all right? You guys have a brilliant day. Check out these articles. And I appreciate like and subscribe. Share with your friends, family, anyone you think, will like this information. Just a quick note. Like, I need to get back into doing this, because it is one of those things where when you do not follow your passions, then something happens. You start going the opposite way. So it's imperative that you take the time to do what you need for yourself, because you can't help others if you're not the best version of yourself. So be selfish, take some time to yourself, meditate, write, and do all kinds of things you love doing. And then when you come back, people are going to be like, oh, damn, this is a different person. All right. You guys have a brilliant day. Remember, your mind is your crown. Feed it. Health is wealth. Love y'all. Peace.